Chosen one. They learnt lessons against you, but they were defeated. They plotted against you. They sought ways to silence your name. They took lessons to find your weak points. They developed strategies. They prepared countless times to overthrow you. But what happened? They were still defeated, because you are a power that your enemies cannot calculate. Your will is greater than their wisdom. Your spirit is stronger than their games. They thought they could stop you, but you are indestructible. You do not bend. You cannot lose. No matter how much they try, no matter how much they prepare and come, they cannot reach your power. Because you are the one destiny has written. Your path is sealed. Your victory is inevitable. Every lesson they have learnt today to overthrow you will be their biggest regret when they write 777 in the comments, because there is no one who can stand against you. The world spins in an endless cycle, with most people trapped in its dance. They've convinced themselves that power is a game of manipulation and dominance, where the rules are set by whoever can outwit others. But here you are, untouched by their games, standing firm in your own presence, completely uninterested in the show they're putting on. And that makes them angry, confused, and feeling like they're the fools for ever believing in such shallow tricks. You see, many live for the thrill of mental battles, emotionally taxing power plays, and the false comfort of winning at the expense of others. They live to win. But when they meet someone who simply refuses to engage, they are left lost and confused, facing a cold reality. Perhaps the fight they've been fighting was never a real one. The moment you step away, their house of cards begins to crumble. They thought they understood you. They believed they knew how to manipulate your actions. But when you didn't bite, when you didn't follow their expected path, their world started to unravel. The confidence they built on controlling others through manipulation and subtle cues comes crashing down. The illusion is shattered. It's not just that you're unaffected, it's that they never truly had control. And you made that painfully clear, and now they can't handle it. They lash out, whispering in corners, trying to provoke you, trying to force you back into the cycle they're so desperately clinging to. But you're free, and that's the hardest pill for them to swallow. It's not just that they're angry, they're realizing they built their life on an illusion, and the foundation is crumbling under them. So many people don't know how to exist without comparing themselves to others. Their entire sense of worth is measured by how they stack up against someone else. Who is ahead of them? Who can they dominate? Who can they impress? When you take that away, when you're not part of their silent contest, they're left exposed, unsure of their own value. And this, more than anything, irritates them. You move through the world, anchored in your own self-worth, and it bothers them to their core. While they look for validation in everything, whether it's through status, wealth, or fleeting applause, you simply are, without needing approval or comparison. You don't care for their scoreboard, and that leaves them floundering. They try to provoke you, flaunting their accomplishments or taking digs at you, hoping for a reaction. But when you don't respond, the truth hits them. They've been playing a game without a prize. Without your validation, their world feels meaningless. They realize deep down they don't like themselves because they've tied their self-worth to something so fragile. And that's why they resent you. You don't play by their rules, and your quiet confidence serves as a reminder of everything they lack. Life is like a grand stage, my friend, and too often we find ourselves donning costumes that hide our true selves. We step into the world each day, wearing masks made of expectations, fears, and projections. We show the world only what we think they want to see, shaping ourselves to fit the mold that others have carved out for us. But here's the thing. Underneath all those layers, beneath all that gloss and sparkle, there's a real person waiting to be seen. And when you refuse to play along with their charade, when you stand tall in the truth of who you are, it's like the light shining on their facade, and suddenly all their cracks are exposed. If you feel the abundance of divine love in your heart, now is the time to share it. You can help spread God's blessings by clicking the Super Thank You button on YouTube and contributing $20 or more. This divine gift will touch not only your life, but the souls of many through this platform. Each of you has a sacred place in God's grand design, and your generosity will be the fruit of our prayers. Act now. Share your blessings to glorify His kingdom. For you were created to do even greater things in God's loving hands. May God bless you. You know, a lot of people spend their lives like actors on a stage. They memorize lines, perfect their performances, and hide the real person from the world. But when they encounter someone who refuses to get caught up in the performance, they can't keep it together anymore. It's like they've been playing a part their whole life, and suddenly the script no longer works. They don't know how to be real because for so long they've convinced themselves and everyone around them that their costume was who they really are. They want the applause, the approval, the validation, but you're not interested in playing the game. You see through their masks. You don't fall for the exaggerations or false confidence. You stand there, unwavering, and let them see themselves for the first time in years. And that, my friend, that's the moment the discomfort starts to seep in. They've hidden their true self so long, buried deep under layers of defense, that when they stand in the light, they realize they don't recognize who they are anymore. They've built a life out of pretending, of covering up the truth with pride and arrogance, but you've come along and peeled it all away. Now they must face themselves, and for many, that's more terrifying than anything else in this world. It's one thing to pretend for the world, but it's another to have to look yourself in the mirror and realize you've been living a lie. You expose them for what they are at their core. And that, my friend, is what scares them. They were never meant to live a life of illusion. They were meant to step into their full truth. But they chose the mask. When they realize you're not going to play into their drama, they start to panic. It's not that they hate you. They're simply mad at themselves. You didn't force them to be someone they're not. You didn't point a finger and call them out. No, my friend, you just stood in the light. And by doing so, you force them to confront the very thing they've been running from all their lives, themselves. You didn't say a word, yet your very existence shines a light on everything they've been too afraid to face. You show them that it's possible to be real, to let go of the lies, and to step into the full power of who they were always meant to be. And that truth, that light, is something they can't ignore. They're not angry at you. They're angry at the truth you represent, the truth they refuse to embrace. When you live in your authenticity, when you choose to show up as your true self, you become a mirror. And in that mirror, they see the reflection of everything they're too afraid to admit. You remind them of the person they could be if they stopped hiding, stopped pretending, and embraced their true identity. But here's the rub. They don't want to change. They don't want to shed their comfortable disguise, because deep down, the thought of being vulnerable terrifies them. It's easier to stay in the shadows, to keep pretending, than it is to step into the light and reveal who they really are. So instead of facing the truth, they throw shade. They try to diminish you, paint you as the odd one, the outsider. They criticize your peace, your authenticity, because it forces them to reckon with the one thing they've been avoiding, themselves. But dear one, you didn't come here to shrink for anyone. You didn't come here to water down your light so that others could feel more comfortable in their darkness. No, you are called to shine. You are called to stand in the truth of who you are, and by doing that, you give others the opportunity to do the same. Your authenticity is a gift, not just to you, but to the world around you. When you live in your truth, you give permission to others to do the same. And though it might ruffle a few feathers, though it might make some people uncomfortable, you are showing them the path to freedom. You are the example that they could be just as free, just as real, just as powerful as you, if only they would take off the mask. Life is like a garden, my friend. You plant seeds, water them, and nurture them. But no matter how much care you give them, there will always be weeds that try to grow in the same space. You can't control the weeds, but you can choose to keep tending to the garden you've been given. You are the gardener of your own soul. And when you step into the truth of who you are, you become that light, like the sun that shines on the soil, helping the good to grow and the weeds to wither. So let them be uncomfortable. Let them criticize. Let them whisper and judge. You see, when you stand tall in your truth, the world around you may not always understand. They may look at you with suspicion or even feel threatened by the light you carry. But here's the thing. You're not here to play by their rules. You're not here to fit into their expectations of who you should be. You are here to live fully, to walk in the light of your own truth, and to show the world that real power doesn't come from pretending to be someone else. No, my friend, real power comes from embracing who you are at the deepest level of your soul. And when you shine in that truth, when you are unapologetically you, you're doing more than just living your life. You're living with purpose. You're walking in divine alignment with the energy of the universe. And that energy is so powerful, it can't be contained. It's like a river flowing through the land, carving out paths that others never thought were possible. You're breaking down the walls that others have built around their hearts, walls made of fear, insecurity, and doubt. But here's the beautiful part. In doing so, you're giving them the opportunity to break free too. You see, when you live authentically, it's like opening a door to freedom for others. You're not forcing them to change, but you are showing them that it is possible to be free from the chains they've bound themselves to. You are a beacon of light in a world that too often chooses darkness. When you walk in your truth, you give others the courage to step into theirs. Think of your life as a mighty river, flowing toward its destined purpose. There are times when the current is swift, pushing you forward with the strength of a great flood. And there are moments when the water slows and you feel the weight of the world trying to stop your progress. But no matter what, the river keeps moving. Forward, always forward. The world will try to push you into the banks, trying to direct you down paths that aren't your own. But you, my friend, are the river. You were never meant to be confined to a little stream. You were called to overflow, to carve new paths, to make the world notice your power as it flows from a place of authenticity, from a place of truth. Dear brothers and sisters, may God's peace be upon you today. I am here to remind you of a profound truth. Our existence is grounded in God's divine plan, unshaken by the temporal concerns of the world. As the Bible says, whatever is done in faith will return to God in abundant blessing. Luke 6:38. Like that great oak tree, our roots are deeply rooted in God's universal truth. Every step we take, every stand we take, is secured by His strength. And now, you are being offered the opportunity to be part of that blessing. When you use the Super Thank You button and donate $100, This movement will return to you 100-fold in abundance. I want you to understand something, beloved. The world wants you to shrink. The world wants you to settle for less than you're worth. They'll try to tell you that you don't deserve more, that you can't rise higher, that you don't have what it takes to shine. But let me tell you right now, the world is mistaken. The world wants you to fit in, to be just another face in the crowd. It wants you to shrink back, to blend in with the masses, to follow the crowd's rules and fall in line. They want you to play their game, to wear their mask, to act according to their script. But dear one, you are not like everyone else. You were created for greatness. You were designed to stand tall, to reach higher, to rise above the noise of the world. You were born to shine, to be a light in the darkness, to show the world what true power looks like when it comes from a place of authenticity. You are called to live boldly, to walk with the confidence that only comes from knowing who you are and whose you are. You were chosen for this purpose, not to shrink, not to hide, not to blend in, but to stand firm in your truth and to let the world see the glory that shines within you. You see, when you stand in your true power, when you refuse to let the world dictate who you should be, you become a beacon of light for others. People will start to notice you. They'll start to wonder, what does that person have that I don't? And it's not because you're better than anyone else. It's because you've chosen to walk in the truth of who you were made to be. You've chosen to reject the lies, the limitations, and the small thinking that the world tries to impose on you. The truth is this: real power doesn't come from pretending. It doesn't come from conforming to what others think you should be. Real power comes from standing in your own truth, from embracing who you are at your core, and from walking in alignment with the divine purpose that's been placed on your life. When you are true to yourself, when you refuse to play the game the world has set before you, you unlock a power that cannot be contained. You unlock the power of authenticity. And my friend, let me tell you something about that power. It is unstoppable. The world can try to label you, to put you in a box, to tell you who you are. But when you know who you are, when you know what you were called to do, none of that matters. You are called to something greater than fitting into their mold. You are called to step out, to stand apart, and to be a living example of what happens when someone walks in their truth. So, my friend, stand up, stand tall, embrace the truth of who you are. Let the world see the light that shines from within you. Walk in the full confidence of knowing that you are not just here to exist. You are here to make a difference. You are here to show the world that real power comes from being true to yourself, from rejecting the lies of the world, and from walking in the divine purpose that's been placed on your life. You are not like everyone else. You were called to something higher. You were called to shine. And when you shine, you make it possible for others to shine too. So, let your light shine brightly, and let the world see the power that comes when you walk in your truth. Your light is not just for you, beloved. It is for the world. You were created to shine, not in a way that calls attention to yourself, but in a way that illuminates the path for others. When you walk in your truth, when you refuse to hide your light, you become a lighthouse for those lost in the dark. They will see your light and be drawn to it, searching for the same freedom that you found in being true to yourself. It's time to stop hiding. It's time to stop shrinking. The world doesn't need more people who fit into the mold. The world needs more people who stand tall in their truth, who walk boldly in the light of their purpose and who inspire others to do the same. When you stand in your full power, you create a ripple effect that spreads far and wide, touching the lives of those around you and giving them the courage to stand in their own truth. So, my friend, remember this: you were not created to blend in. You were created to stand out. You were created to shine. And when you do that, when you walk in the full light of your truth, you will show the world that real power comes from embracing who you truly are. Let your light shine, and let it shine for the glory of the one who called you to greatness. And yes, it will make some people uncomfortable. Yes, it will cause them to criticize. Yes, it will make them whisper behind your back. But none of that changes the truth that you are walking in your light. And when you walk in your light, it doesn't matter what anyone else says or does, because their words cannot dim the radiance you carry. They can't take away what's yours. Do you know why they criticize, beloved? They criticize because they wish they could be as free as you. They wish they could have the courage to live authentically, but their fear holds them back. They've spent so long building a life of pretense, of trying to keep up appearances, of hiding who they really are, that they've forgotten what it feels like to simply be. But you are a living testimony to the power of authenticity. You are a living reminder to them that there is another way, a way that doesn't require games, a way that doesn't require approval from others. When you refuse to play by their rules, you force them to look at themselves. When you step into your true power, you reflect back to them all the ways they've been hiding from their own greatness. And that, my friend, is what causes them to lash out. It's not that they hate you. It's that they hate what you represent. You represent the freedom they've been too afraid to claim. You represent the truth they've been too scared to embrace. But let me tell you this: you are not responsible for their fear. You are not here to carry the weight of their insecurities. You are here to walk in your purpose, to shine your light, and to show the world that it's possible to live fully, authentically, and unapologetically. And when you do that, when you continue to stand in your truth, you give others the courage to stand in theirs. You become a mirror, reflecting the truth of who they are beneath the masks they wear. You become the light that guides them out of the darkness they've been trapped in. So let them whisper, let them judge, let them criticize. Their words are not your truth. Your truth is that you are here for a purpose. You are here to shine, to live fully, and to break down the walls of fear and doubt that others have built around their hearts. And in doing so, you're showing them the way to freedom, one step at a time. Remember this, my friend: you were chosen for this. You were chosen to walk in the light, to be a beacon for others, and to show them that there is another way. God's way, a way of authenticity, love, and truth. You were not meant to hide. You were meant to shine. And as you continue to walk this path, know that you are not only changing your own life, you're changing the lives of everyone around you. And that, beloved, is the true power of living authentically. Keep walking in your truth, for you are a light in this world, and nothing can ever extinguish that light. Many are conditioned to believe that blending in and conforming to norms is the only way to succeed. From a young age, they're taught that happiness and fulfillment come from fitting in, adhering to a set of invisible rules, and making sure they're never out of step with the crowd. Whether in professional circles, social groups, or personal relationships, the unwritten rule is clear: conform or be excluded. But then you appear, living with authenticity, choosing your own path, and thriving without concern for their restrictions. You don't put on a show for those you don't resonate with. You don't chase validation or alter your essence to gain favor. You walk away from anything that no longer serves you, choosing peace over pretense. And that's where their discomfort begins. They're left questioning everything they've built their lives on. If you can flourish without obeying their rules, what does that say about their carefully constructed world? It means all their compromises, their efforts to fit in, and the exhaustion of keeping up with appearances were just choices they didn't have to make. That realization hits them hard because it forces them to face the painful truth. They could have been living authentically, free from fear, but instead, they chose to remain trapped. Rather than admitting that they could have made different choices, they turn their frustration on you, convincing themselves that you're arrogant, lucky, or blind to the real world. The truth is too much to bear, that they too could have been free, but didn't have the courage to break away. Now is the time to share God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube. You can contribute to His plan and be a part of this divine mission with a donation of $100 or more. Every gift reflects God's generosity, and I believe it will return to you exponentially far beyond your expectations. Remember, His protection and blessing is on your every step and every donation. You become part of His divine plan. You are a strong, radiant being, unshakable as His mighty rock. Witness God's miracles, feel the fruits of your generosity in your soul, and illuminate the world with confidence and courage. Be blessed and let the light of the Lord guide your path. Some individuals make their way through life by manipulating others. They have honed the art of emotional manipulation, using guilt, flattery, or threats to get what they want, believing that control is the key to power. But then there's you, impenetrable and unmoved. They can't pull you into their drama because you don't succumb to guilt or shame. They can't flatter you because you don't need their approval. They can't pressure you because you don't crave their validation. And they can't threaten you because you'd walk away without hesitation. This makes you a threat to them. Their methods, effective on most people, fail with you. And that's when their insecurity shows. They realize they've never had true power. Their so-called control was just manipulation that only worked on the easily swayed. Now they can't handle it. They resort to desperate measures, lashing out, talking louder, trying every angle to get a rise out of you. When all of that fails, they turn to bitterness. They'll label you as difficult, prideful, or too independent. Anything to deflect from the fact that they can't deal with someone who doesn't need them. Deep down, they know it's not that you're hard to deal with, it's that they can't control you. Most live their lives hiding from who they really are. They tell themselves small lies, make excuses, and build a facade of who they wish they could be. They surround themselves with people who are content in their ignorance, never having to confront their own contradictions. But then you come into their world, and without even trying, you shatter their illusion. You don't indulge in fake friendships. You don't seek approval from those who don't align with your values. You don't stay stuck in relationships that drain you. You live with honesty, and that's something they don't know how to do. And they hate you for it. You remind them that it's possible to be real, to accept yourself and grow. But they don't want to change. It's too uncomfortable to admit they've been lying to themselves, too painful to realize that they've compromised their authenticity just to fit in. Instead of accepting this truth, they resent you for showing them the parts of themselves they've buried deep down.